Howdy, y'all. We are Third Ward Studios, and this is Walt P.
Alright.
Alright.
So, I'm the team lead. I'm Joseph Yep. And then, Yusuf.
I'm
Introduce
Yusuf.
yourself.
I'm the level designer.
Cody is not here today, but he is the engineer.
And I'm Johan, I'm the other engineer as well.
I'm Tira, the animator.
Minju, I'm the lead artist.
I'm Emma, I'm the sound engineer and character designer. So howdy y'all. So this is our game overview. We are a 2D combat adventure puzzle game, however you explain it. It will be side-scrolling, so from the side. And each level is gonna have its own unique features, which we will talk about later. It's gonna be like a lot of battles, puzzles, platforming, or a combination of all of them. And yes, our game will be created in Unity. So yeah, our story is about a bounty hunter in a Wild West steampunk world whose family was taken after an ambush. After waking up in prison, you want to try to fight your way out and set across the country, facing a series of challenges in different places as you answer the question, where is my family?
Facts. So, we're gonna have 4 stages that are planned, but our game's gonna be pretty large, so there's always room for more. But as the story suggested, we're gonna start in the prison. You're gonna be broke, you have no weapons, so you're gonna have to get that stuff back. So it's basically just gonna introduce you to the movement and your weapons that you're gonna be introduced at the beginning. Then the prison's actually underground, so you're gonna be moving up into the mines where you get access to more things such as double jumping, which will help with platforming, and other things that I'll mention in the other slide. And then the ghost town, right above the mines, what a wonder. And that's where you get into the meat and the potatoes of the combat. And then our last planned stage is gonna be the train. Completely different from the rest of the game. It's gonna be a puzzle game. So we're gonna have a lot of different themes for each stage. All right, so moving on to the prison, we're going back to it. So the idea is it introduces your first weapon, so you can have like a ranged weapon, like a gun, and usually a melee weapon, so like you got your hammer or your dagger, and voila, what I said before. So it's mostly puzzles and combat. The first part's like, oh, the prison break, then you start fighting the guards. Then we go into the mines, so it's a darker area, and this is where we actually introduce the platforming part, because you can't really just like always walk in mines, you gotta go up like the staircase and that kind of thing. And there's gonna be a lot of traps, and there's gonna be some enemies, but we're gonna keep it sparse. This will also introduce our consumable weapons like dynamite throwing and bombs. And this will also have, so I forgot to mention this, but each stage will have its own boss. All right, and then the third stage, which is why I said the meat and potatoes of our combat, is gonna be the ghost town. As you can guess, it probably has ghosts, right? And this is where we're gonna introduce another system. So each stage, we wanna introduce a system that makes it unique from the last stage. Otherwise, you just be playing the same game over and over, right? So the enemies are gonna be like ghosts, like zombies, skeletons, that kind of thing. And again, like I mentioned, combat linked. And finally, the train, completely separate. You can't even fight anyone. You can only talk, you can make peace. But essentially, someone's trying to bomb the train. So if they bomb the train, you're cooked. And you gotta figure out how to defuse the bombs by using hints from NPCs on the train. All right.
Alright, now this is the gameplay and game mechanics. So it's going to be split into 3 different sections, like you mentioned before: combat, platforming, and puzzles. And I'll be going. Alright, so the player must fight through enemies and bosses at every stage, but the last stage, like we mentioned before. Well, like some examples of what you can do, like melee attacks as well, range attacks, and use consumables, and maybe even throw dynamites, which can be used in the beginning stage, and also aerial melee attacks. However, to make it a little bit more difficult for the range attacks, it requires ammo, so you have to use that sparingly, and the consumables will be a one-time use as well. And for the power-ups and the pickups as well. So occasionally receive power-ups from enemies, which can last a small period of time, also to make it maybe a little bit easier at times. Once the player kills the enemy, there's a chance that the enemy will drop a power-up. And like I said, like I mentioned, it'll help to progress a little faster, so we don't make it too long. Some examples would be like infinite ammo, health pack, invulnerability, damage up, and for the pickups, it can pick up ammo and gold, which will be mentioned later.
Yeah, so as for platforming, the player must do platforming in certain stages, such as mines. This includes traps, spikes, and moving platforms. The player must overcome obstacles to progress throughout the game. Some of the movement we have is running, double jump, slide, air dash. Aerial attacks stops momentum and crouching.
So in certain stages of the game, like the train, the player is required to solve puzzles to unlock different elements or progress to the game.
And then we're gonna move on to the characters. So the idea for the game, we're gonna have two main characters. It would be boring if we just had one, right? So first character is Pete. The game's named after him, and so he's the bounty hunter guy, and he's using a gun, like a revolver type thing, and he's using a knife as well. So you see his animations right here. Not completely done, but kind of the idea for his animations. And here's a little portrait. And then he has a daughter who's also trying to be a bounty hunter. Her name's Alice, and she uses a shotgun and going to use a hammer as well. So you can choose between them at the start of the game. It'll affect the story as well. And then?
Yeah, so these are some of the enemies we have. So we have a killer ghost, a zombie, spiders, a skeleton, and some of the zombie miners.
And
And we also have a big cat that we're gonna implement. It's gonna be one of the bosses. Be on the lookout for that.
That's fine.
and
And there's a saloon that we're gonna have for Beanie.
Oh, yeah, okay. So it's gonna be Western inspired. It's gonna have like, you know, the guitars, the banjos, the harmonica and whistling, like what you'll see in a stereotypical Western movie. And there's also gonna be dynamic tracks, and that's gonna depend on what level you're gonna be in. And we're gonna make all the audios and music ourselves, and then we might include voice acting for our NPCs.
And well, the future idea is basically we might have like more characters. We also might have more stages and maybe more weapons as well.
Alrighty, y'all. So this is our catchphrase. When Pete shows up, you know there's trouble. Third Ward Studios, and we're out, y'all.